when we discovered Tonisborg Dungeon, I wanted to write some sort of companion book to the movie. I won't go into all the details, but Dan was like, let's just do a book on Tonisborg. And I was like, excellent. Tonisborg is really special. It's a very historically significant dungeon. It's the second dungeon that we know of that comes out of the Twin Cities.
Welcome to another unboxing. Today we have a very special volume to take a look at. It's a single volume, but this is something very special. It's actually a second printing of something that came out during the Secret of Blackmoor Kickstarter. So let's open it up and take a look. So this was this was difficult to come by outside of the U.S. So we ordered this, and we're waiting for it to forward from the U.S. Oh, wonderful. So here's a letter right on top. So here's your copy of the Lost Dungeons of Tonisborg. Thanks for hanging in there with us and supporting our project. We hope you enjoy the book. Please contact us directly if you have any problems. And then the website and a mailing list. So, yeah, Chris and Griff of the Fellowship of the Thing. And there is a little bit of a delay with the this second printing, but the wonderful thing that these guys did in order to make sure everybody got it was to they ran out of paper, I guess, the grade of paper, the weight of paper that they wanted to originally use. The printer was not able to get, so they upgraded us. They didn't charge any more, and they upgraded the quality of the book. So wonderful, yeah, wonderful thing, and it's nice to finally have this. So this is the second printing, and you'll be able to tell from the exterior. I believe the original one was a violet, a purple, or a navy. It was hard to tell in some of the photos, but it was a bluish or purple. Ooh, and this is a red finish, and that same dragon illustration is in gold on the front. Beautiful. And there's our spine. So what is the Lost Dungeon of Tonisborg? This, and of course, credited to Greg Svenson. So this was unearthed during the research that was done for the Secrets of Blackmoor. So Blackmoor, of course, is the proto Dungeons and Dragons, the setting, the world that Dave Arneson created. And Greg Svenson was one of the original gamers that played in the Blackmoor group, and was the only surviving player, I think, of the first dungeon that Dave Arneson ran. So the Great Svenny, I believe, is his wizard character. So this book is Greg Svenson's first dungeon that was created in 1973. So this is prior to the public release of Dungeons and Dragons. So this is proto early days of tabletop role-playing, and especially dungeon crawling. So this is a mega dungeon that was thought to be lost for the past 35 years and had become known as the Lost Dungeons of Tonisborg. So when they were making the Secrets of Blackmoor, they discovered in David McGarry's collection copies of maps and room keys that didn't match anything in Blackmoor. So they contacted Greg Svenson and asked him, do you know what this is? And he recognized his handwriting and said, that's a copy of my Tonisborg. And so he agreed to have it published as long as the original reproductions of the original maps and notes were included. So we're going to see some reproductions of the actual original works that were created, the maps and keys that were created for this dungeon. So Griff worked together with Daniel Boggs, a game historian and designer who contributed some design expertise to this. And there's writing or an introduction and notes from both Griff and Daniel Boggs. So this book itself is a complete gaming experience, a rule set and a kind of historical introduction, and a complete mega dungeon. 10 levels of mega dungeon. So let's take a look inside. Oh, nice. Bright purple end paper. So I believe this was the color, like a darker version of this was the color of the first printing of this book. There we go. So the official Blackmoor setting. And this is a Ken Fletcher illustration, this dragon from 1979. Wow, and the paper quality is nice. They definitely gave us a nice upgrade. So here we go. So the Lost Dungeon Dungeons of Tonisborg, written by Greg Svenson, Griff Morgan, and D.H. Boggs. The original maps are Greg Svenson's. Map consultant was Dave McGeary. The Zero Edition Dungeoneering rules, Tonisborg Edition, were compiled by D.H. Boggs. Updated playmat designs were by Toby Lancaster. And then artists, here's a list of the artists that contributed. Very good. And it was even play tested and proofread. So this should be a wonderful book. Let's see. So yeah, published by Fellowship of the Thing. So this is, of course, second printing from April 2022. Very good. So it begins, respecting one's boundaries and expectations. When role-playing games were first invented and then published in 1974, prevailing social views and values differed significantly from the present. Even before the 70s until the present, our collective awareness and understanding has always been changing and continues to change due to freedom movements that open our eyes to the injustices worldwide and also lead us to consider how we can make the world a better place for everyone. RPGs are not immune, and it is up to us as individuals to engage with these issues in our games and do the hard work of seeking fairness and compassion. So that said, this book contains artifacts that are historical in nature, so no attempt has been made to alter the original content contained on the game maps, nor has there been a change from the original documents regarding the rooms and the monster descriptions. So basically a warning that, this is a product of the 70s, and sensitivities have changed and awareness has changed. So you may you may not agree with the way certain things are portrayed. So Tonisborg is a living dungeon. For the referee, you will learn how to imbue your own games with the true flavor and adventure of exploration of the original fantasy gaming group in Minnesota who first explored this catacomb. For players, most important thing that they will learn is that Tonisborg is deadly. Players who wander in casually expecting to kill monsters and gather treasure effortlessly will find a quick and easy demise. This type of dungeon requires stealth, cunning, and tactical savvy if one expects once again to see the light of day. Nice. And there is, a description of everything, and here's our table of contents. Yeah, this is looking very, very early D&D. This table of contents is great. And another Fletcher illustration. So we'll just go through the basic. So the history, welcome to the history. Spoiler alert. Breathing life into an old dungeon. And so the actual dungeon with the in part 3 and the 10 levels and the rules to play with are part 4. And then treasure, part 5. Creatures, fantastic and mundane, part 6. The book of spells and appendices. Wow. So yes, a complete game and mega dungeon all in one volume. This is part 1, description of how to use the book. A Time Before RPG. So this is Greg Svenson, the creator. So let's just read a little. I started playing war games with Avalon Hill's D-Day when I was 8 years old. Soon I was playing other similar board games such as Tactics 2, Gettysburg, Africa Corps, and Blitzkrieg. By the time I was in junior high school, there were gaming clubs that met on Saturdays at my house in Excelsior, Minnesota, which included Scott and Dave Belfry, Richard Snyder, Bob and Mike Mayer, Fred Funk, Steve Randenberg, Tim Siemens, and my brother Fred. Wow, that's a big group. When I was in 7th grade, I took my Blitzkrieg game with a bunch of homemade counters to my social studies class where we divided the class into teams. Wow. So a nice history of Greg Svenson's wargaming, and then move into dungeon crawling. So Tonisborg dungeon is a living underworld. As people explored it and things happened to it, like explosions or denizens being killed by the players, I made changes to the map and adjustments for the creators, for the creatures that live there. That is how my Tonisborg was born. Wow. So a nice. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Wow. Nice color reproductions. So the history of losing and finding of Tonisborg, and look at this, a nice color scan of the original dungeon, and you can see colored marker to show different the different levels, and also so I guess things that were behind magic doors, things that are concealed in different colors. So when we first discovered these maps, our first impression was that they could only be from the Twin City Gamers. This is based entirely on the long, angled passageways and irregularly shaped rooms, as they closely resemble Dave Arneson's Blackmoor dungeon maps. As in the Blackmoor design, a large main staircase is shown on level 1. Here the stairwell is a sneaky trick. Well, we won't spoil it. We won't go into it. But wow, yeah, they look at that. So they reproduced. So don't memorize anything. We'll just breeze through these. But here's all the hand-drawn levels, including the handwritten key of what everything is. These are really nice. Look at that. Really well done. Wow, I wasn't expecting such high quality scans of everything. That's really nice. Yeah, from the first page I assumed everything was going to be black and white. Wow. Look at that. That's great. And here we go. A yellowed piece of notebook paper. Yeah, so it looks like a treasure table or oh no, it's monsters. Yeah, it's all monsters numbered through. Look at that. And they even have the torn edge. So breathing life into an old dungeon. So examples of an adventure. Oh, there's a great some killer snails. Wow. And so there is, yeah, like the introduction said, there's a lot of advice for referees. Yeah, how big should the party be? I guess we'll just go through. We can go through the points. So, playing in Tonisborg, employing traditional game methods and tools, maps as tools, maps as treasure, marching order diagrams, room diagrams, dungeon adventure as a practice in military strategy. Players need to know when to run. Dungeons are dangerous. Always make sure your players feel that they are being treated fairly. The retreat and counterattack. Keep dropping hints to help the players learn. And how big should a party be? Remember that you are an entertainer, players running monsters, the referee as people manager, stretching the rules for players, your characters create themselves, interacting with the world, not the character sheet, and the dichotomy of rules versus rulings. Another nice illustration. Judgment Day, or oh man, you failed your saving roll. The temporal reset, when the inevitable happens, the quiet game, and the psychology of fear. Oh yeah, that was, I believe they talked about that too in the Secrets of Blackmoor. Oh yeah, there's the quote. Anxiety leads to doubt, doubt leads to fear, and fear, if properly manipulated, leads to terror. So Rob Kuntz, game author and theoretician from the Secrets of Blackmoor documentary. The fake roll. The pre-roll, the reversal roll, the paranoia roll, inconsequential events. Oh, look what you found. The compound meaningless event. When to use these events. Focus events. And a nice cartoon at the top there. I light a torch to see in the darkness. The game room. Referee lesson. Be sneaky. Player lesson. Be sneaky. Despite it being an alien environment, some things do make sense. It's time to think like a monster. The trap or ambush battle. The raid scenario. How to be thiefy without thieves, or just how old school is your game. Room and corridor traps. Lockpicking and lock traps. Fleshing out Tonisborg architecture. It ain't the same anymore. Tonisborg as example. Improvisation and the dungeon room. Describe the monster, don't just name it. The compound monster. Keep weaving in the details. The monster speaks. Underlying concepts of continuity, time, and the traditional RPG. Time slicing and combat. Encumbrance and treasure. The mapper. The scribe. Giving out role-playing points. Oh, that's nice. Breaking the rules and making the rules. Referee specials, nemesis, trickster, ally, subtle cues, homemade monsters. There's a lot of great topics in here. Special magic items, the logic puzzle challenge, better haunts and dungeons, greening things up with a bit of plants, the supernatural. The collector, character transformations, go with the flow of things, anachronisms, reality meets fantasy, a maze within a maze, teaching your players to be their character. Oh wow, there's a full page. It's nice. Looks like graphite drawing. The story begins. Playing the magic in dreams and visions, keeping the core idea firmly in mind. Ooh, nice. Getting into the dungeon, work for the referee, restocking the dungeon between adventures. Nice, that looks familiar. Ah, and here's the dungeons. So part 3 are the dungeons. We'll just kind of skip. Oh yeah, so here's the redrawn version. So we saw those originals earlier, and so in here are redrawn versions with illustrations and all of the locations with the monster stats. Wow, they look great. Wow, this is really well presented and very usable. I'll flip through kind of quickly. I don't want to spoil anything. If you're going to be playing, I won't read anything, but yeah, the maps were really redrawn well. That's very usable. Very good. Wow, this is a really great project. I mean, they were doing a documentary, a very intense documentary, and this came up as another project on top of that. Really well executed, though. I'm glad they did a second printing, because that would be a shame if it was only available during the Kickstarter, because Kickstarters have time limits and things, so it's hard to get everybody aware of what they're missing out on. Really great. Look at that. So 7... 8. Great little spot illustrations. 9. Yeah, lots of diagonals. A lot of diagonals. That's not easy to map when you're gaming. 10. And so Greg Svenson, I heard in an interview, talked a lot about the generating of the dungeons. He used D6s to generate a lot of the kind of the randomness of the dungeons. So that's why they don't kind of fit perfectly into, rectangles and things. There's a lot of what looks like randomness, but not completely randomly generated. There's a methodology to how things connect. Fortunately, I brought along my copy of the Junior Woodchuck Handbook. Wow, 1974. The Ken Fletcher. Look at that. There's a character sheet in there. I don't believe there's a PDF version of this book, unfortunately. That's a shame because, it's going to be difficult with this nice hardbound binding. It's going to be difficult to make a photocopy of that. But look at that. A complete proto D&D version 0 character sheet for Dungeoneering. Wow. So here's the rules. And yeah, all of the polyhedral dice to generate the randomness. So D6s are commonly, they're talking about the pips or numbers. So in the early days of fantasy gaming, there were no dice numbered from 1 to 20. All that existed were percentile dice that had 20 faces with dual sets of 0 to 9, 0 treated as the tens. So if you wanted to roll a value of 1 to 20, it required the use of a second D6. On a 1 to 3, the results of the D20 were treated as being 1 to 10, and a 4 to 6, the percentile was read as 11 to 20. Wow. Oh, I didn't know that at all. And here's your types of characters. Halflings, dwarves, elves, humans, and your classes. All the classics. Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to skip And so humans and then your classes, fighter, cleric, and magic user. So very old school, very classic style and encumbrance and languages. Yeah, so this is all, this is really great. So playing this just with the rules from the book are going to be really, really fun. Very, very old school. The spell lists. Nice. And the gear. Wow. Yeah, this is very pre-advanced D&D feeling. A lot lighter, a lot less bogged down with everything. Just kind of basically what you would need for dungeoneering. Distances and surprise table. Combat resolution, projectile weapons. So combat sequence, first move morale and loyalty checks as needed, order of action. Wow, very nice. Oh, this is going to be really fun. So, oh, that's right. So this is based on the Champions of Zed rule set. So 2 fairly detailed methods of resolving combat are based on methods of Gygax and Perrin's miniatures warfare rules, provided along with simplified basic D20 methods. So I guess chainmail is what they're referring to. Wow. So, however, more recent discoveries reveal the procedure was originally intended in the first game drafts of 1973 by Arneson and Gygax as the elegant method that is followed here. So the basis for combat resolution is fairly simple. It's a fairly simple principle structured around the relative difficulty to penetrate armor. Class 2 armor, plate and shield, has only a base 10% chance of being penetrated at any given hit. However, each experience level an attacker has increases the character's chance for making a damage hit by 5%. Thus, a first level character has a 15% chance to hit a plate, mail, and shield armored foe. A 4th level character has a 30% chance, and so on. The level, of course, also applies to hit dice of monsters, as explained previously. Wow. So no Thecco. Interesting. So here's all of our doors. Step-by-step dungeon stocking. Stocking is in filling the rooms with treasure and monsters. Here's our treasures. Magic sword purposes. Lots of tables to roll on for magic items and scrolls and potions. Oh, wow. Yeah. All of the classic stuff was already there in 1973. And I wouldn't find it until 1981. Wow. The Table of Dragon Ages. Oh, there we go. Yeah, we're in the creature section already. And it's already, alphabetical. Dragons and dragon tables, dragon ages, green dragons, red dragons, blue dragons, brown dragons are found in temperate areas. They're also known as great dragons. Nice. Red dragons, golden dragons. Everything is alphabetical. Oh, interesting too. There's stats for the percentage that they're in layers. The number of them, their alignment, their movement, armor class, hit dice, and treasure type. And then a little description. So stat lines, are fairly simple. And then the spells. Yeah, a lot of classic stuff. I think without a PDF, though, this is going to be rough. We should have ordered multiple copies of the book. Oh no. Wow. Lots of spells. And then the appendices. So Griff's optional creature taxonomy encounter system. So 1 to 2, an inexplicable or supernatural event. 3, a special NPC. 4 to 5, dungeon crew cleanup. 6 animals, 7 insects, 8 humans and allies, 9 non-player monster race, 10 undead, 11 magical and mythical, and 12 dragons. Highly recommended for the resources. So Campaign Sourcebook and Catacomb Guide by Janelle Jacquois and William Connors, The Book of Elder Magic by D.H. Boggs, The First Fantasy Campaign by Dave Arneson from the Judges Guild, Seclusion of Orphone, or of the Three Visions by D. Vincent Baker, all Lamentations of the Flame Princess, and Tricks, Empty Rooms, and Basic Trap Design by Courtney C. Campbell, Hack and Slash Publishing. And then here's the open game license and our index in the back. Nice. Yeah, that's really nice production for the book. That is it. Wow. A very nice taste of old school. It's so cool that this that this is a thing, that this exists. I can't believe they were able to put the time in and have it illustrated with maps redrawn, but also to include the originals. That's great. So these are, it looks like these are the only color pages. The only color plates are Greg Svenson's originals. Wow. Well, very worth it. Very worth the wait. This is a really well-produced volume. You can see a lot of love and a lot of information in there. The referee section itself, I think, is a very valuable text on, with the original aesthetics, how to run games and how to keep players engaged and how to kind of think about a lot of the principles of dungeon crawl gaming. Well, I'll put links to, if you haven't seen the Secrets of Blackmoor documentary, you should. So I'll put links. There's Amazon Prime and Vimeo, lots of ways that you can see it, as well as ordering DVDs. So I'll put links to everything up there. Unfortunately, unless they do a third printing, this is not going to be available after the print run. So hopefully, if it got a good response and if things improve as far as paper supplies and supply chain, they may consider doing a third printing. But yeah, this was great. I'm so sorry that I missed out on this on the first Kickstarter. I ordered the DVD, but I didn't go for the Tonisborg. But I'm glad they made it available again. So head over to the Secrets of Blackmoor website and bug them to get a third printing going if this is something that you'd like to have in your library. And this is going to be hitting the table at our OSR group, I know, very soon. So this was a shared investment between myself and our regular DM. So Rob, we're looking forward to your refereeing this wonderful dungeon. So our first mega dungeon, I believe, as well. So excellent. So thank you for joining me. And look in the links below for everything that related to Tonisborg and Blackmoor. And also, if you'd like to support what we're doing, please visit patreon.com/upturntable and become a patron. There's several different levels, and you can support a lot of things we're doing, like our weekly show. We do, of course, unboxings, actual plays, reviews, all sorts of things. And Upturned Table is the how you find us on social media. Upturntable.com is the main website where you can find everything that we're doing. And thank you so much for watching. Give us a like on this video if you enjoyed our flip through of the Lost Dungeons of Tonisborg, and subscribe if you want to be notified of when we go live doing live streams or when our new videos are posted. And thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.